If you're getting ready to take the PTE Core test this year, then you'll want to stay tuned to the end of the video. We're going through all the hardest sections in the speaking part, specifically the Read Aloud section. I'm Scott from HZad Education. Remember to hit that like button. We share tips every week on how to ace the PTE Core exam. In 2025, there has been a lot of upgrades made to the exam. They are now using an AI scoring system to better analyze the test taker. The AI software is allowing for more precision, fairness, and contextual understanding. So before we get into the Read Aloud section, let's take a look at the changes that have happened this year. One of the biggest changes is that they are now looking for contextual understanding. The old system was focusing very heavily on matching the keywords and having proper grammar, but it didn't know if you grasped the key understanding. Nowadays, with the new system, the AI evaluates your response based on your contextual understanding. So you can score very highly even if you don't match all of the keywords. The goal here is real-life English. The new exam is also more simplified. It's only 2.5 hours compared to 3 hours last year, and they have reduced a lot of the speaking questions. Now, instead of reading repeatedly long text, they have reduced that to smaller, short sections. So you get preparation time, less speaking time, but that does mean you need to focus on pronunciation and getting the real understanding of the speaking section. Luckily, the new AI system has also been developed using a variety of database, so it understands different pronunciation and different background languages better. So if you come from a Middle Eastern, an Indian, a French accent, the AI algorithm will have a better time understanding you. For example, if a French speaker says vegetables instead of vegetables, the AI system will help to understand your language, and you'll still score highly. Now, this doesn't mean we shouldn't focus on pronunciation, but as the test taker, you have a better chance of scoring high if your pronunciation is a little off. Now, I do want to mention that they are still using human evaluation for fairness, but they've incorporated AI to speed up the exam process and to include more fairness and less bias when exam. So now that we have all of the upgrades made in 2025, let's take a look at 4 really necessary tips when we're doing the Read Aloud section. This is known to be one of the most challenging, and most people lose marks here. Take a look. Now, the first we should be focusing on is our fluency and intonation. It goes without saying that the more fluent your reading section is, the higher your score will be, because the AI algorithm, the human examiner, can hear you very carefully. But it also demonstrates that you have a lot of experience with English, because you have an ear for it. What we want to do is speak naturally in a conversational pace. Don't rush and don't mumble. Try to open your mouth loud and wide so that your sound comes out very carefully. Test the microphone, make sure that it's audible and you're using the best quality headset that you have. If your headset is not suitable, well, of course you might lose marks there. Try to raise and lower your voice in an appropriate way so that it sounds natural. Most native English speakers will read out loud at 180 words per minute, and we're going to show you an example of what that sounds like so you can try and match it. Remember, don't speak too fast because this will reduce your clarity, and don't speak too slow because it can affect the fluency. So what does 180 words sound like? Well, let's read this one together. Technology has transformed the way we communicate, making interactions faster and more efficient. With the rise of digital platforms, people can connect instantly across the globe. However, this rapid change of information also raises concerns about privacy and data security. Okay, so reading aloud is about 15 to 20 seconds for this text. Try at home and see how long does it take you to read it. Remember, during you do have preparation time, about 20 to 30 seconds, so you get to pre-read, making sure you can pronounce all of. Now, the next important tip is to follow English punctuation and identify keywords. We all know that when there is a period, we should take a natural break or a small pause. But a lot of test takers don't follow this because maybe you feel nervous or you're excited and we seem to miss the punctuation. For commas, take a short break. Periods, a long break. After transitional words like however, take another pause, a break. Look for sentences like a relative clause, where there is a comma before and after the relative clause. Here, you're almost going to say it like it's a second thought, like it's the side to the main information, and that's okay. Question marks, raise the end of your voice just slightly. And there's not often exclamation marks during the PTE exam, so don't worry about exclamation marks. We also want to identify the keywords because these will be stressed in your voice just a little bit. Identifying keywords are usually important nouns and sometimes verbs. We do also stress module verbs like should, would, could, because this helps us to sound more natural. You should do something. You could attend the meeting. So look out for module verbs like that. Let's take a look at this example. I'll read it with you and identify the keywords that you can see. Global travel has become more accessible than ever. However, with increased tourism comes greater responsibility to protect the environment. Governments and individuals must work together through sustainable practices to preserve natural and cultural heritage for future generations. Did you hear me try to stress those key important words? We do it very subtly, but this definitely helps. Now, what happens if you don't stress keywords and you don't follow punctuation? Well, one, you won't get high marks, but you're going to sound very monotone and like a robot. If people always talked like this and they didn't stress any keywords, it sounds very robotic and quite boring. Not very interesting, right? So we need to use our voice. Now, I do find with a lot of non-native speakers that using your voice maybe is just not comfortable because you're not used to it, and maybe you're shy when you speak as well. During the exam, try your hardest to push out your voice. Try to be excited about the topic, and pretend that you are giving a speech on this topic, like a TED Talk. So you want to sound energetic, excited, and interested in that sentence. It will help you sound natural. Now, speaking number 3 needs to be talked about. Don't hesitate when reading aloud. What does this mean? A lot of speakers go into the exam and they pause or hesitate when they are speaking. And they make mistakes because they are not reading in a natural sense. Then what's worse is that they stumble over their words and they try to fix their mistake. During the reading aloud section, you're only given a few seconds to read smoothly. So you must do it in one shot, one go. If you do make a mistake, just keep going. Hesitation will lower your score. What you can do is just pick up from the sentence that you're at, or pick up from the word, and keep reading as though you are naturally reading. So remember, if you do make a small mistake, like you pronounce a word wrong or you read it incorrectly, just keep going. Don't restart your sentence. The next thing we're going to work on is called grouping words, sometimes called as chunking words. These are words that go together because they have some relationship, like sustainable practices. We want to identify these in the passage and read them together. It's almost like it's a compound word. Sometimes it can be a long phrase as well. So what we can do is take a long sentence or a passage and start to identify what pieces need to be read together. Then, when you read it, you take the smallest break in between these. So let's take a look at some examples, and you can practice at home. If we have a sentence like this, we're going to chunk words together like the climate of the world, because it's the world's climate, so we're chunking that. And then we chunk the last section, is changing rapidly. So our sentence would sound like, the climate of the world is changing rapidly. Here, the mistake that a lot of students do is that they pause too often when reading the sentence. They might say, the climate of the world is changing rapidly. And that doesn't really sound fluent because it is a lot of hesitation and too much pausing. So let's take a look at another example. How can we read this sentence? What would you chunk together? I would read this sentence as such. The rapid advancements of technology has changed the way people interact with each other. Very small pausing, but it helps to break up the sentence, and we're chunking it together. Rapid advancements of technology, that's one idea. Has changed the way, one idea. People interact with each other, one idea. Okay, should we try one more? Try chunking this sentence at home. Now let's try it together. A balanced diet and regular exercise are essential for maintaining good health. Good. Did you get that? Okay, so that is grouping words or chunking words. And you can do this during your preparation time because you'll have 30 seconds to look at the passage and begin to put pieces together. Now, the tip goes without saying that use the preparation time wisely. You have around 30 seconds to pre-read the passage, and then you will be prompted by the computer to read it out loud. So if you use that time wisely by identifying the keywords, looking at the punctuation, finding the chunking words that can go together, and you can do this within the 30 seconds, which means when you go to read, you'll have a smoother time. Also, try to repeat hard words that you're not very comfortable with. Words like determine. Often people say determined. So you want to read it carefully, practice it out loud, and then try to match that right pronunciation. Now, a big component here is speaking confidently. If you sound loud, clear, and confident, it'll give the examiner the impression that you feel comfortable in English. It'll also help the AI to boost your score if you speak at a nice, comfortable pace so that it can properly hear all of your words. If you're speaking too fast, it might miss words and you're more likely to stumble or make a pronunciation mistake. But if you speak too slow, well, it doesn't sound very natural. So speak confidently at a good pace. So in 2025, the read aloud section is getting shorter, but the examiner and the AI algorithm is looking more carefully at, can you read this in a natural way? We've got 4 good tips that we're working on today. Now, let's go ahead and practice together. So we'll read this passage. I want you to pause the video, use 30 seconds to prepare. So you're looking for keywords, you're chunking, you're looking for pronunciation, and then you can listen to me read it and read it at home. Let's give it a try. What can history tell us about contemporary society? Generally, in the past, even in Europe until the 18th century, it was assumed that it could tell how any society should work. The past was the model for the present and the future. Okay, hopefully your reading sounded similar to that, looking for keywords and also following the pronunciation because there was a relative clause in that. So if you're getting ready to take the PTE Core test this year, Please remember to like and subscribe to our videos. It does really help the algorithm so that we can publish more videos and help more people. I'm Scott from HZad Education. Good luck with the PTE Core exam, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.